Third host 14th at Villa Park this evening. Aston Villa with 47 points from 25 games. They remain firmly in the Champions League places despite back-to-back home defeats. Brighton arrive in 14th with just one win in their last 12 league matches. For Villa, it's an opportunity to reset at home and reinforce their Champions League credentials, and they're up against a team they've enjoyed playing in recent seasons. Welcome along to Villa TV and to Matchday Live. My name is Kate Tracy. Alongside me, three former Villans. We have Ahmed Al-Mohammadi, Lee Hendry and Stilian Petrov. So we've got a bit of a dream team going on here. And Lee, to be fair, it actually feels like more of a mild night than we're used to. No umbrellas, no gloves.
I think it's because Alan's not here. Usually he brings the rain, doesn't he? And brings the cold. Weather. He likes the cold with his Scottish background. But yes, it is. I mean, I thought I might not even putting the coat on today, but you know, I thought I'd match you today.
I feel very extra, I'm not going to lie. I feel very extra today, very wrapped
evening
up.
For a game, though.
Isn't it just? Yeah, I think we've been watching the Winter Olympics a bit too much, perhaps. Elmo, you're dressed far more sensibly for tonight. Not raining, though. Alan always says it's a great night for football whenever it's raining and the ball's skidding along. As a defender, you may not agree.
But you ever listen to Alan? You know,
try not to. Try not to.
Yeah, it's always, you know, it's a lovely weather. It's a perfect night for a game tonight. So hopefully, good night for us after what happened in the last couple of weeks, especially the results yesterday helped us a little bit. So it's a lot of confidence going to these games. You know, Brighton is one of the team. We always have a good game against them. You know, especially after what happened earlier this season. We beat them at their place 4-3. It's always an open game. You know, it's a lot of goals in this fixture. So hopefully a lot of goals for us today and 3 points.
Yeah, we're going to look back at that 7-goal thriller later on in the show because Cillian, this Premier League season, it has been crazy. As Elmo just says there, the results again going our way last night. The fact that Leeds could claw back to get that point at Chelsea, and then of course Liverpool there a couple of days ago. And you don't know where to look at this point from a Villa perspective. Up, down, where are you looking?
Up, I would say.
Oh, well done.
I think it's been a really exciting season. Yeah. It's a blip in the last couple of weeks, but that's normal. Considering the injuries, considering the key players have been out, I think Unai Emery and the team understand where they're at. They're in a perfect position. Don't get me wrong, they've got a great opportunity tonight to put things right. They know that some results get their way last night, but you have to perform, you have to win games, and tonight is the perfect opportunity, especially playing at home.
It is. All the fate is in Villa's own hands, which is quite a nice place to be, but also a pressurised place to be, is it, Lee?
Yeah, well, it is, because they're in such a great position, aren't they, in the league, where, you know, there wasn't so many weeks back, they were getting touted for a title and being title contenders. So, listen, when you're in that predicament and you are coming up against the top sides, yes, there's always going to be a hell of a lot of pressure that mounts on you, particularly when you're coming towards this sort of back end of the season where, you know, this is where it is key, to be quite honest, because we've sort of benched where we are in the league. You know, didn't start great, but we absolutely flourished. And then we've just had this little blip. You know, Stan just said there, it was always going to happen at some stage. Top teams go through little stages where they drop points, but you know, the games that we've dropped points against Everton and obviously against Brentford was probably the more disappointing thing, because you know, to a certain extent, if it's Arsenal or it's a Man City, then you start to think, oh wow, you know, we can swallow that. But the games that we probably should have beat, particularly here where we've been outstanding. So the pressure is going to mount. There's no doubt of that. But the fixtures, the games that have gone recently, yesterday, Manchester United, you know, picking up a point at West Ham. The teams that are just in and around us, you know, I just feel that they were always going to come strong towards the back end of the season. But I think I'm looking further afield to the likes of Liverpool, Brentford, obviously on the same points. We win today, and hopefully the results go for us again. We just keep that gap. And listen, I've always said it, I think if we finish top 5 this season, it'd be a remarkable season.
Lee, do you think at the moment, Elmo as well, do you think at the moment for Unai Emery it's about keeping the nerves calm, about understanding we're in the great position, we'll get results, we get some players out, but we'll get that momentum back because the team know how to play. We've got enough quality to sustain that Champions League football. The thing is about calming the team and making sure he goes through that period in the right manner.
Yeah, I think so. I think even looking at the Bournemouth game on, the weekend, I thought we played well for periods in the game against Bournemouth, and then second half, you felt that there was a bit of sign of like nervousness, and that's always going to come. And like you said, I think at this moment in time, I think the changing room's been fantastic. There's been no doubt of that, but now it is all about making sure that mindset and the calmness and not thinking too much of maybe going and pushing for a top two finish. It is, and the manager said
still on the map. The top two finish still on the map.
It's still there, but yeah. I mean, you try and look at the situation we're in, and you'd say, listen, let's make sure that we get this top five. Let's make sure that we're playing Champions League football next season, which I think is so important. And that's why what you said, the question is, the gaffer's got to keep the players right, he's got to keep them sound, he's got to keep them focused for these remaining fixtures.
I think it's important that, especially with so many games to go.
Yeah,
it's plenty games to win.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and the most important period of the season is coming up. And like both of them said here, calmness is the most important thing, especially when you play in different competition as well. So you competing in Europa League, you're favourite for it. You compete in the FA Cup, in the Premier League. So it's a lot of chaos going around in different clubs. So in more difficult places than them. So we are in a very good place here. I know we have a lot of injuries in the team. Some 3 players, like Tielemans, Kamara and McGinn, they are regular starter every game. So the manager who is there for, that's why he's a very good manager, and he finds solution. And you can see in the Bournemouth game, I agree with Lee, first half absolutely outstanding. You can see, Jadon Sancho is coming back to his best, playing his best football now. It was one of those, old school wingers taking people on, and that's what the manager spoke in the press yesterday about him. So these players, they need now to come back to the team and just perform in this very difficult time. Sometimes in the Premier League, when you lose 1 game or 2 games in Spain, especially at home, you lose confidence. But what the manager bring to this team, just give them confidence and just give them enjoy and play. Make Villa Park a hard place to come to. And Brighton, he's been here a few times, and then they got beat very well here, so they know they're coming here to a very difficult place, and the atmosphere at Villa Park, the fans needs to play their role as well, so just make it difficult again, and everything will be perfect for us.
Because Unai Emery said that in his press conference, didn't he? He really called upon the fans. Of course, Ollie Watkins a few weeks ago said, we need you. And it's not a sense of entitlement, I don't think, from the fan base, but because expectations are so high now, because we've reached such lofty heights, naturally the atmosphere is going to change with that. So that feels like it's been the theme this week, to really call upon the fans to make sure that they're doing their part, not just in the good times, Stan, but also when the team really need them, which they do at the minute, because as Elmo said there, injury-wise, we're not faring too well at the minute.
It's part of the game. Yeah. I think in the last couple of years, it's been great time. The manager done a great job, some great result, European nights, and as Elmo mentioned, there's too many competition, but it's good to look at it from the top and, let other teams chase you. You're gonna go through difficult moments, but it's about those players. I mean, with Tammy, coming into the team, you've got other players that can step in now, and just Douglas Luiz, who is back now. He haven't had much time, but much playing time, but now he's getting to speed. He understands how the team plays. So there's a lot more to come, and you expect the key players to be back at the crucial time in a good time.
He's hoping when we need them the absolute most as well, at crunch time when we're getting towards the back end of the season there. Right, team news to bring you though, starting with Aston Villa, who have 2 changes, maybe not the 2 changes you were expecting either. Emi Martinez in goal, Ian Maatsen comes in at left back alongside Tyrone Mings, Ezri Konsa with the captain's armband. Lamar Bogard takes the place of Matty Cash at right back, Emi Buendia alongside Amadou Onana and Douglas Luiz in that double pivot, Jadon Sancho, Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins up top. Now in terms of Brighton, They have Bart Verbruggen in goal, Kadioglu at left back, Lewis Dunk their captain alongside Van Hecke, Veltman at right back, Hinshelwood and Belabor in the heart of midfield, Mitoma, Pascal Gross, what a return he's had to Brighton, Gomez and Danny Welbeck up top. So guys, James Milner, I've just seen, is on the bench there, so hopefully we'll get to see him equaling the Premier League appearance record then at some point. Not entirely
Maybe
sure.
not.
Yeah, we're going to see the old man.
No, actually, maybe we don't want to see that. I know, we're going to ask you a lot about him, because obviously you know James Milner so well. But Tyrone Mings-Though making his 200th Villa appearance, which is great to see. Matty Cash, though, being out at right back and Bogard taking his place. Did you know that? Did you anticipate that?
No, I didn't, to be quite honest. I mean, listen, there's a lot of games, and we've alluded to that. You know, we got the FA Cup the weekend, which, you know, you have to start thinking we need our key players, we need, you know, everyone fresh, we need everyone available for the following fixture, if anything. I mean, listen, I don't know if that will be of high importance, the FA Cup, but, you know, it's a competition that we could even steer something and produce something out of that. So I think, listen, Bogard can come and step in at right back. In fact, I've probably been more impressed him starting at right back than starting in the midfield role. I just think at times, you know, he needs that little bit of protection around him. He needs that little bit of a voice, you know, whether it be McGinn, whether it be Tielemans who can talk to him. And that's when I've seen him play at his best in midfield. So that doesn't fuss me about him playing at right back. Elmo touched on Jadon Sancho. I seen him the sort of back end of the Brentford game where he looked more like himself, like in the second half. And then I watched him in the first half against Bournemouth, and he was outstanding. So I think that's where we need players like that to step up, really show that they're capable of producing stuff in the final third.
I don't think it's a surprise for Bogart. I think with Mitoma there, I think with Matty Cash, you know, being more offensive thinking player, Bogart is more strict, more compact, because Mitoma is the one who can create. He's the one who's got the flair, who can make the difference. And Bogart, he's got that focus and that discipline, you know, he can keep in tight. And you can always use Matty Cash later on. But I think he's quite smart for Unai Emery. He just tried to neutralise the danger, and the danger at the moment is Mitoma, maybe Welbeck, you know, but they haven't had much luck with goals, creating chances. But Mitoma could be the one who can change that, and that's why Bogart probably he's been given that role just to stop him and to look after him. Yeah.
Feels only right that we should get your opinion at right back.
You can see.
I can't believe we're talking about right back.
I went to you two first, and then eventually get to Elmo.
You can see the changes. You know, the two changes. You know, two fullbacks from the last game. You know, Dini and Cash, they've been resting today. But I can see, you know, the point of Lucas Digne not starting today. You can see the goal, you know, against Bournemouth. We concede. Maybe he could have done more of that. Maatson came on as a left wing, and then later on the game played as a left back. But for Cash, I think Cash has been outstanding. One of our best players this season. He's been absolutely playing his best football this season. So I think for the manager, there's a lot of games, like Lee said, and Stan, a lot of games, you know, a lot of competition. So he might be needing a rest. And I got the point Stan make there, you know, about Mitoma. He's a very good player. He's a very dangerous player, and you need someone. You know, he can defend there. Kashi maybe is going forward, maybe too much. Give him some space, especially in the counter attack they play, and they are very good. He's very skillful player. So Bogart, he's been there before. He played a right back. He got the experience to play in this position, so it's a very good choice from the manager starting as a right back, Bogart today, and Maatson as well playing as a left back. The games he started this season, he's been fantastic, Maatson, especially going forward, you know, putting cross on and scoring some goals as well. So yeah, it's good changes for the manager, and you know, rotating players, giving some players a rest today. So yeah, hopefully can help the team.
Yeah, because Matty Cash, he's not on the bench either then, so we're not going to see him at any point today. So hopefully it is just a rest, and we'll get to see him back at the weekend. So all three of you have said about Mitoma. Are you seeing him as a danger man? I know Belieber, of course, he was previously talked about that. Has he been the same player since all of the transfer talk about him?
Not really, but I think Brighton have not been the same this season, and that makes a huge difference. I know they had a lot of injuries, they had a lot of key players who's been out as well, but just the team has not been performing. The game has not been flowing for them. Usually Brighton, they try to dominate, they try to play beautiful football. It's not been happening, and when you haven't scored goals and when you concede goal, it becomes a big issue, and that's what has been a big issue for Brighton. And I think Villa could actually use that because they've not been very consistent. I don't think they play with the confidence, and playing at home, Villa can actually use that as an advantage.
And using the derby on the weekend as well against
the derby.
Palace.
I'm still using it in inverted commas.
It's a derby, you know. So yeah, like Stan said, you know, so teams like Brighton, they can score 3 or 4 goals and still get beat. You know, this is the way they play, and the manager spoke about them yesterday. And to be fair, he was spot on about the highlight. They could have gained more points, you know, from the games. They were sometimes, you know, unlucky in games. So it's not an easy game to play. So they play in the same style like we play. So we have to be careful, especially like we spoken about Mitoma. They have Danny Welbeck, who's a very experienced player in the Premier League. You know, he's very dangerous. He can run behind. He uses his body very well. He's very good around in and around the box. So these players, you know, Pascal Gross coming back from Dortmund, he's a very good playmaker. He plays like a number 10 there. So these players, we have to be careful because they play same style as we play, you know. So they want to come from the middle. So players like Onana and Douglas Luiz, they have a big role to play today in this game.
Yeah, he was taking some savage corners the other day as well, Pascal Gross, in that Palace game. But it was frustrating, Palace. It almost feels like Brighton struggle in the same way that Aston Villa can sometimes. You look at the percentage stats in terms of possession for that game. 65% of the possession Brighton had over Palace. They had more shots than Palace, yet they still managed to lose and don't even score a goal in the process. So it's almost as if they struggle with the same things with that possession base, but then just get done by a low block as we've seen Villa getting done by.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of teams dominating the game. It's about being clinical, about taking the chances, and Brighton definitely haven't managed to do that this season. They haven't been clinical.
Why is that? What reason do you think that is?
It's a lot of reason. You know, the team has not been performing, and when you concede goals, it makes a big difference. What Villa has been really doing is like they've been really consistent, conceding goals, but not many goals. They always stay in the game. And when you've got players that can make a change and that can score goals, you can always win more than you lose. With Brighton, it's completely easy. They're conceding more than actually they're scoring.
Yes.
They can dominate games. They can do so much in possession. But if you're not clinical, if you're not good in the final third, it becomes a big difference.
I think they've always had a problem with the goals. Yeah. You look back at even when Potter was there, they played some unbelievable football. Yeah. You know, they dominated possession, but as Stan said, they've never really had that clinical edge. And listen, Danny Welbeck's a fantastic centre forward, experience. He scores goals. Is he ever going to score you 20 goals a season? I'm not sure he's that kind of striker.
35 years young.
But he's always been around the 10, 12 goal figure, you know, and he's more of a contributor to the team than being a prolific goal scorer. And that's where I feel that Brighton have never really had someone that jumps off the page at you, and for all the quality that they've had in the team and the possession and like you said, the amount of shots, you've got to have a clinical side to you, and as you said, I think when you look at both sides in comparison, there are lots of similar sort of situations that we have with Brighton.
Well, any of those players that jump out on the page, I mean, they're a selling club at the end of the day, aren't they? Like they go on then for like some McAllister and such like as well. But talking of the old boys, if that's not too harsh to say, at 35 years of Danny Welbeck, James Milner, I think we've put it off long enough for your stories. Playing alongside him, dubbed as the most boring man in football, is that accurate?
No, actually he's not. Actually, he's brilliant.
No, he's got some sense of humour. Yeah.
Listen, he got a great sense of humour. He's a great guy as well. You know what people talking about, you know, his life is completely different. It's all about football. It's all about preparation. It's all about doing the right things, being the right, example for everybody in the dressing room. That's James Milner. But he's involved in everything. Don't get me wrong. He's involved. And a night out, he's involved. He's last out.
Kind of
he don't drink. Yeah. He don't drink, which is good. He's a sensible one. He's always involved in the dressing room. He's always involved with anything happening in the team. He always demands more from the team. He's just born winner. Yeah. And he's just so professional that he's a great example. When you have somebody like that, I mean, he could our friend Garrett's, record tonight. Yeah. And I'm not surprised. The way he looks after himself, everything is about football. Everything is about, doing the right thing. And that's why he's still playing. Yeah. And he's about 49 now.
Yeah, what's any of your excuses? Seeing them out there.
Well, we went the other way. Well, I did anyway.
But he has, though, hasn't he? He's been an absolute stalwart, an absolute legend.
Do you know, I mean, you look at him, and that's what the boys are touching on, is that he's a fine example of a footballer.
Yeah.
And for any young players that you know are listening to this, you know, or even get a chance to listen to James Milner, I'll highlight what's that. You know, I've played golf with him. He's got a great way about him. Listen,
Is he a good
because
golfer?
he's not going out and doing what all the other lads are doing. Does that make you a bad, boring person? No, it doesn't. Because as Stan said, he's a winner. He wants to be the best. He wants to do the right things. Tell you what, I wish that I'd have learnt off him a long time ago, because, like I said, if you're any young player, that's one person you should be putting a poster up in your room and saying, I want to be like that. So I want to be that player.
What do you say about him being boring? He takes the mick out of that himself.
You know what, Lee, is like, people talk about being professional. He's got a plan, he follows it, but to be consistent with that plan for that many years, it takes a lot of commitment, dedication, and he's doing it without any distraction. You know, he's been through injuries, he's been through difficult times, he's been from one club to another club. Everybody talks very highly of him, and that's the way he is, because he's so strict, he's so determined to do the right things. That's why he's still playing.
I'll tell you what, the person I would put him close to is Ronaldo. And I mean, and do you know what?
He's demanding of himself.
Yeah, he demands for himself. And do you know what? No one says Ronaldo's boring, do they?
Yeah.
He's definitely
got
not
all
boring.
his flash cars out and stuff.
I know. Imagine if he just suddenly turned into Ronaldo flexing overnight, James Milner. I know that would be.
I'm not joking. I mean, he spent his time, you know, preparation in the gym. One day we were getting changed, and I saw a muscle in his body. I'm like, I went to touch it. I went, what is this? I don't have this in my body. He goes, do you work for it? I was like, how do you actually work for it? How do you know this muscle is there? And it's a strange thing.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy.
I was okay, you know.
He pays attention about everything, about how to stay fit, how to be strong, how to sustain that fitness. And I was professional, but not that much.
No, well, I did see. He blinked at me once, and I seen a muscle in his eye.
And you're going, what's that? I'm not joking. I'm like,
Injured
wow.
it then. The process.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, I was like Stan said, you know, about demanding about himself, you know, and he's professional, looks after himself. I was reading something about him, you know, beating everyone in pre-season tests, and then I asked Salah about him, you know, because they play alongside him in Liverpool, and he was just saying he's crazy. Honestly, he just like, you see how old he is, you know, and how old I am, you know, and he's beating me in the running test in the pre-season, because he's just like looks after himself, you know, differently, you know. It's not like all the players. He's just like bit old school, you know. So he knows what he's doing, and he's focused in his job. And if he's not focused in his job, he won't play until now. You know, that's why he's still out there.
That's quite something. I mean, we talk about the two kind of older statesmen, absolute professionals. Salah and James Milner are going to be two of those. So the fact he was beating him in pre-season tests goes to tell you an awful lot, because, of course, he still holds the very niche stat over most Premier League games played against former teams. 61 of those. So again, add that tonight. So that's just another one, a testament to how many clubs he's been to, but a niche one. But what do you make of Brighton with their balance of experience, youth, talent coming through? Do you think it's a positive for them, kind of having this crux of the older players?
I always think it's good to have experienced players in and around. I think particularly when you look at the manager, who's a very young manager,
32,
by the way.
33,
and he's one of the youngest
yeah.
managers, well, in the Premier League, he is, isn't he? So I mean,
Ever.
You know,
You're a young lad.
a young man, isn't he? I know. So you know, listen, I do feel that, particularly having a manager of that age, I think he will learn a lot of some of the experienced players that are actually in the team that are older than him and that have been and played at bigger clubs. I know we touch on Milner, but where he's been and what he's achieved in his career, you know, Danny Welbeck. So I think having a blend of experience in the team, particularly with the model that Brighton have, and that's bringing players in, developing, selling on, and they've done it absolutely magnificently. Let's be quite honest.
Do you think that some manager get frustrated with that? You must really buy into what they're doing. Do you think certain manager get frustrated or they just buy into it and they think it's part of my development and I'm happy to do and follow the politics of the club.
I think they have to, Stan. I really do, and I think that's the difference with certain football clubs. We see Chelsea, don't we? You know, Liam Rossini goes into Chelsea, and he's in a similar sort of situation where he's got to abide by what the club rules, and that's why Maresca wanted to leave the football, because he didn't have his own stamp on things. I think Brighton's a bit of a development for not just the team, but for managers. We see the managers move
and
on,
the players,
yeah. So I think it's just a model that they've got there, Stan, and unfortunately, I think the way that the game's going, I think managers are going to have their hands tied, and it is going that way at the moment. And that's why I feel there's a lot of frustration. I think our manager's been frustrated that he hasn't been able to bring players in, you know, in the sort of window that he would have liked to.
Well, you can never see Unai Emery working for a club like Brighton.
No,
this
never.
is completely
it's different. Yeah, it's different. When you are a manager, it's different than you are a coach.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I mean. It must be sometimes frustrating for those managers to go there and like, I can't go to the next level. I'm kind of restricted. Sometimes,
but sometimes, Stan, these coaches, you know, they have to take this step first.
Yes.
Before they come in like a manager and that. So, like, you know, Lee said, Liam Rossini was in Strasbourg, same ownership, and then they brought him to Chelsea. They want him to play a similar style like Maresca before. So you have, as a young coach, you have to take this step before coming a manager, you know. And to be fair, you know, Brighton is one of the teams. If you're a normal person watching Premier League, you know, you like to watch Brighton playing football because they are a very good team playing football. But the problem is, like I said, you know, they can score 3-4 goals, you know, and they still go beat because the way they defend, the way they play, they can concede a lot of goals. Since he came, you know, he started very well with them and he was doing very well in the Premier. But like Lee said, you know, he's still young and he's less experienced, so he's getting experience with those games. When you play a lot of games, when you play in different competition, it's not something as a young coach you get used to it. So by games, you know, you get used to it and you learn from it and you get some experience.
It's a big test for him. It's a big test for him, Kate. It's a big test for him today as well, because if you look at where they are in the league, and Brighton have always been mid-table, if not above.
Yes.
And now this young mentality of a manager has got some really tough games on his hands where you look, they're just sitting outside of the, you know, the bottom three. They could easily get dragged into a relegation battle, if you like. I'm not saying they will, but this is an experience and a
other teams
are
picking points.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So this is a big game for them tonight, a real big game, as it is for us. But, you know, you do feel that's why it tees it up really nicely.
Yeah, it really does it? I mean, he's a fantastic manager. We've already seen that, but he does have a system, largely in part by Tony Bloom, who has set that precedent there for Brighton. Someone who certainly has sovereignty, though, at Aston Villa is Unai Emery. He sat down with the media yesterday.
We are enjoying the process. We are competing. We are feeling comfortable how we are doing our season. Up and down sometimes, but more up than down. We were out of matches in a row winning. Now we had 2 defeats at home and can understand like something can happen. We analyze with the players, we analyze those matches, and of course we are trying to avoid some mistake we did or some circumstances we had. But now I am positive. The players as well, they are working very well every day. They played a fantastic game on Saturday, competing fantastic in Bournemouth. And tomorrow we have a new challenge. And the challenge at home in Villa Park, of course, is try to get our full energy, our full wishes and our focus to prepare the game as better as possible and to compete against a very good team and play in Villa Park without supporting, and always is something very, very special for us to play there. It's a team, they are competing fantastic. They have less points than they deserved. They lost some points, but like in Fulham, when they were winning 1-0, they lost 2-1, but they deserve more. They draw against Manchester City where they deserve more. They compete fantastic at home against Crystal Palace, but they lost. I think they are a team really playing good football, fantastic football. And tomorrow, they are going to play like they are. We will need tomorrow get our strong structure defensively, stopping them. They are going to play in combination. They have as well very good wingers. They have as well 2 very good strikers. They can play long ball second action, but they are playing more in combination with Gross. Gross give them a lot. because he's a very intelligent player, and his comeback for them is fantastic. And Baleba is so strong in the middle. Diego Gomez so competitive. They have experienced players. Dunk is a fantastic central defender. The goalkeeper played very good in combination with the ball. And defensively, they are being so intense and getting a lot of duels man-to-man.
Yeah, good to hear from Unai Emery, as always. He was very specific in his press conference this time around. But of course, we're coming here on the back of that Bournemouth draw. First and foremostly, what were your thoughts coming away from the game?
I mean, I did the game and commentated on the game, and I thought, so it was great to go down and actually see the game as well. And I had to take my Villa hat off, obviously, because I'm on comms and being neutral. But I thought that Bournemouth probably started the game particularly well, and then I thought we sort of grown into it. But I always felt that we looked like we were going to be the team that were going to go and break the deadlock, which we did do so. I thought there was key moments where we broke their press and found ourselves in that attacking sort of mould where we looked really, really dangerous. I thought, at times I thought they had good opportunities, but we looked like the more threatening, if you get what I mean. And that's because they had a lot more possession probably than us in the first half. But I thought that, the Morgan Rogers goal was absolutely outstanding. I thought we were really, really good in that first half. And I think even where it came from, it was a little bit of clever play from Kashi there that probably goes unseen, and then this is all about Sancho and Morgan and the movement. You're just taking 3-4 players out of the equation there just through clever bits of movement, vision, awareness from Jadon to just slide him through. And you know what I love about the finish, Kate? I just think that any player that's been coached, you've always been coached to go back across the goal and try and, at least if the goalie makes a save, there's a centre forward there. I just love how much confidence he has to know I'm going to beat Petrovic at that near post, and he just literally rips the goal off.
It's the confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But in that area, how many people do you see shoot from that?
At that angle, yeah.
But he has the ability to do that.
He's got a great ability.
And he's been the maestro, actually. He's been the one who's been driving the team. He's the one that creates, scored goals. He get in the great areas, but when you've got ability and when you can score goals like that, you can make a difference. And he's a big player for Villa.
Yeah, he is.
Big player.
And that link-up play as well. You were talking about how well Jadon Sancho has been warming up to the task at Villa, and the lovely link-up play throughout that first half, to be honest, and that was rewarded with a really good goal.
I think since the game against Fenerbahce away, he's been absolutely sensational. Yeah. The manager spoke about his work rate. He's even not just going forward, even helping his fullback. The hard work he does, absolutely fantastic. Needs that, as a player coming here, and maybe starting the season he will be slow for him, but he's growing to the team. He understands the system now. He understands everything around him, and playing alongside Morgan, alongside him, it's helping him a lot. Confidence that Morgan has. So both linking up play with each other is fantastic, and this you can see it in this goal. They understand in between them. It's happened a lot of in this game. So for us, I think first half, like Lee said, was better, going forward, and we defended very well. Emi Martinez had some good saves, some good blocking from Ezri and Tyrone as well. Both was being sensational. But second half, I think we lost a bit, 1v1s and 50-50 second balls, and that we lost a bit of that in the second half. And Bournemouth growing to the game, and they was just a bit of confidence for them. And to be fair, the goal they scored was just a bit lazy defending from us. So in the Premier League, when you give someone space, you're going to hurt you wherever you're going to play. So for us, after all, I think it was a good point for us, going to Bournemouth. A lot of big teams go there and they struggle. So for us to get a point there, it's not a bad point for us. So we have to react today after the last two defeats at home. We have to react today. So big games for us, under the lights, Villa Park. No better place to be.
No.
Do you think the reaction with the result or performance?
Both. Both.
Okay.
We need
I'll take the result.
Yeah. I'll take the result. You have to
Almost demanding.
But to be fair, Stan, you see the game against Bramford, if you play this game 10 times, you won't lose that game again.
Yeah, of course.
You got to have a lot of chances. We were a bit unlucky, and you get this in the Premier League sometimes in the game, in football. You get just a bit unlucky in these moments. But today you have to react on that. So you have to perform better. To be clinical in front of the goal, to be more ruthless in front of the goal, and you got the players to can do that.
And luckily for us, we're still in third despite those 2 home defeats there. But of course, we were on the South Coast last weekend. Now the South Coast comes to Villa Park this time around. Let's hope for another cracker like we saw in that 7-goal thriller at the Amex in December.
Feels it in, be someone. Oh, he missed it out. He's gone on the line. Oh, and he's gone in. 29th minute, Brighton leading 1-0. Here's Hinshaw now moving forward. He's got men arriving as well. Another moment of danger for Aston Villa. Hinshaw goes for goal and finds it as well. There's Torres on the left-hand side, flicking the ball out towards Martin. He's got through the first challenge as Ian Martin fires it across into the penalty box. Oh, and it's gone in. And Villa are right back in it. Ball through the middle for the volley. Watkins meanwhile. Watkins with a chance and a goal. It's 2-2. Unai Emery throws his coat in the air at the Amex. Far post it goes and he's got it towards goal. It's Amadou Onana. Aston Villa have the lead for the first time tonight. Amadou Onana at the far post. Field comes across now. Glances to the far side, heading back across. Aston Villa is on the Verbruggen. It's going to be prodded home. Threading forward. Comes back to Van Hecker and a goal on back. You see forward for Brighton, makes the angle for a cross, and fizzes it in that. Feels loose on the edge of the penalty box. Costulos into the ground. Oh, what a save from Pisa! The whistle goes and Aston Villa have come from behind to beat Brighton in a remarkable game of football at the Amex.
Yeah, it really was quite some night, and not necessarily one we saw coming. When Aston Villa went 2-0 down, Stan, what were you thinking at that point? If you can cast your mind back, but this was when Villa were on a fantastic run, so was it ever really in doubt that they get back into it?
No, not really. At that time, the team was playing with the confidence. You knew that you've got enough goals in the team. You just have to get that momentum and manage to get back to the game. Villa managed to do that, and at the end, it was a perfect performance. It was really good for the neutrals, to watch the game. A lot of goals, a lot of mistakes, but both teams played really well, and Villa played with real confidence and scored some great goals.
And Ollie Watkins coming back to form as well. Do you remember all the talk going into that game?
I remember
we're playing well, but
thing happened.
Do you?
This game.
Do you actually?
From the warm-up,
the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely.
From the warm-up, Amy Martinez getting injured and being replaced, and
God, he actually does remember everything. Very well done.
I told you. So it was like it wasn't good start for us. Conceding 2 goals, set piece again, and then conceding another goal. But the reaction and Oli was needed that goal. He didn't score for a long time, and then just smashed 2 goals. He was absolutely fantastic. Big Onana scoring from a set piece again, and then Donny Mallon, coming back and scoring. Yeah, you see, it was a great performance from us after we conceded 2 goals. This is what Brighton are all about. They can score 2-3 goals and they still get beat. But the reaction from the players, and the action from the manager as well, it was absolutely outstanding. It was one of the best performances for us this season. To go away at Brighton, and you 2-0 down, and then you give the 3 points and give 4 goals. Everything was positive about that game except Emi getting injured in the warm-up.
Yes, I can't believe I completely forgot about that, to be honest with you. That's why this is actually really helpful for me to be able to watch this back. But Amadou Onana are on the because they're a tall defensive lineup as well. So just having his extra height and presence in there to be able to take advantage of those set pieces is crucial that night.
Yeah, it was. I remember the game, and there was never any doubt that we weren't going to win. I just felt that it was one of them games that we looked like we were just buzzing with confidence. We looked like we were going to score goals, and obviously we produced a remarkable game for the neutrals. I'm sure the manager wouldn't have liked to concede the goals, but like Stan said, I think that showed the character and the charisma of the team this season, that they can bounce back from being behind in games, and that's just through the quality and the confidence throughout the team.
Why does Ollie have such a good record, do you think, against Brighton? What is it?
Well, sometimes you just find a team that you play quite easily. Which was your team you played?
Oh,
you
yeah,
scored
Newcastle.
Newcastle, there you go.
Oh, okay, that's not a bad one to have it against. God,
St. James Park all the time.
Really?
4 goals, 3 assists.
Yeah, it seems like you're always
My favourite away ground.
He remembers everything.
And it's a very,
I'm not surprised. I remember
it's
that.
a very difficult place as well to go
Yes,
to,
it
you know.
is.
So Stan and Lee, they all, you know, every player have a favourite, you know, away ground.
I want to know now. Go on then, what's
Mine's
yours?
Everton. I'd score goals against.
Goodison, really?
Yeah, Goodison, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And here I just seem to feel like
I think Stan, I'll tell you, Stan, you know.
Stan's got loads.
I know which one.
The best goal is Swansea.
Everton, yeah.
And he scored.
Everton was good.
I remember 2 goals Stan scored. You know, the one against Swansea, you know, from halfway, and the one against Sunderland.
Derby. Sorry. Yeah. The halfway line.
Halfway line.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's only Roy Carroll. Those don't count.
and the one against Sunderland.
Yeah, that Sunderland was
Stadium
good.
of Light as well.
Yeah.
It was 2 goals.
Yeah. No, listen, you always find a team that you're quite comfortable playing against. So I think Ollie kind of feel, and I think you guys mentioned about the way Brighton play, they leave a lot of space.
Yeah.
They're not as quick as back line, and I think Ollie loves those kind of the space because he makes some clever runs, and I'm not surprised if he can score tonight as well.
Yeah, hopefully so. That we'll get to see that again tonight because, of course, he is starting. Now, our very able producer actually put us together some stats about Ollie Watkins and how often he scores in this as well. And I've got the old running order, so I'm not able to bring you those stats right now. I will bid to get back to those stats for a second, but he does have a fantastic record. And just Villa have a fantastic record against Brighton as well. Why is it so open? When we see Villa often struggling against low blocks, at least we're not going to have that here. We're dealing with another possession-based team, so it should be more open and freeing, which seems to suit Villa.
I would have thought even more so tonight. I think Brighton need a result, don't they? They're on a bit of a dip in form, which I think they've found quite hard to sort of overcome. But I think with the way they play, they're expansive. You know, they want to get wide players on the ball. As Stan said, defensively, I always felt that, you know, they do have the experience back there, but they don't have lots of pace, and that suits our play, our game plan. You know, so the likes of Jadon Sancho will be important. You know, Morgan will be important as he ever is, and it has been this season. And I'm with Stan. I think there's goals for Ollie today, and it's not just because he likes playing against Brighton. I think he relishes the fact that he can come up against 2-3 centre halves if it is that he knows he can disrupt and he can pull apart because of his pace. So it's important that, you know, we go and get that first goal, and I think if we do, I do feel that I wouldn't say a comfortable evening, but I do feel we'll have a more comfortable evening than what we've had recently.
And their heads might drop as well, then, because talk to me about confidence there, Elmo. On the back of getting booed off the pitch against Crystal Palace in that defeat the other day, we don't associate Brighton fans with booing their own team. They're normally a pretty kind of level-headed and resolute fan base. So 1 win in the last 12, though, and that was against Burnley. You know, we talk about confidence. Is that going to be the precedent Villa want to set, is get on the front foot early?
Of course, yeah, you have to start the game well, you know, just take advantage of that. They just lost, you know, like you said, against Palace, you know, maybe the fans were frustrated because it's a derby for them, you know, getting beat against Crystal Palace and their place. You have to take advantage of these situations, like us, you know. Yeah, we have a good record against them. We always play good against them, getting results against them. But it's a Premier League game. You never know what's going to happen. So you have to be careful. Of course, you know, front foot from the first minute, but you have to be careful because they got the players, they got the experience in the team, they got some individual player they can hurt you know. So we have to have balance in the start of the game, you know. First 10-15 minutes is very crucial for us. If you get the first goal, this game might end 5-6, you know. So we beat them, you know, a couple of years ago, 6-1 here. They had the Zerbi, their manager at the time. They play so open, and then Oli scored all sorts of goals, you know. Score from outside the box, score from the 6 yards, scoring with the header. So he had a fantastic game at the time. And then the one reason, you know, I agree with the lads here, you know, about Oli scoring against them. The way they play, they give you so much space. So he's the kind of the striker need that. So when Tammy came to the team, you know, some people were saying, yeah, the manager's going to rotate after maybe the weekend, might start Tammy today, but the manager knows the record against this, you know, and how Oli play well against this team. That's why he starts tonight as well.
Yeah, and that was we were having that debate beforehand. Does Tammy Abraham start? Does Ollie Watkins keep the place here? But given his record, I mean, it sounds almost like why were we asking that question in the first place? But Are Brighton looking below? Are they in a relegation battle potentially, do you think?
Not yet, but they could be dragged into it. They could be dragged into it.
Do you think that is a live danger?
I don't think it's a danger. They still got enough quality to get out of it, but you don't work that way. The only problem is where you get hooked into, relegation battle. It becomes a different game.
Yeah.
It's more about results than performance. And Brighton has been set about performing well, performing in a certain way. That's why it's always been suitable for Villa. When a team dominate possession, when they're quite open, Villa are quite aggressive on the pressing. They bite very quickly, and they've got players that can hurt you, especially Oli. When you've got the pace, you've got the strength, and he can get behind and he can hurt you. That's why it's been quite suitable for Aston Villa and Oli, especially.
I actually think that, I'm not saying they're in a relegation, but I do feel that tonight is an important, for fixtures that you look around, Forest play Wolves, is it?
Yes,
Leeds picking up point at Chelsea yesterday. West Ham got a point. So you start to think they will have seen that, and they will realise what a massive game this is for them. That they will want to get something out of today's game, and particularly that we've had 2 defeats here on the spin. They'll think we have to take the game to them, and that's why I think it'll be wide open, and hopefully it goes in our favour. And I think it will do today. I just think I feel that things looking like they were starting to click against Bournemouth, and I think it will happen tonight.
Because that's it, this Premier League season, we said about it towards the top earlier on, has been a mental season. Of course, Thomas Frank going this morning from Spurs, getting the boot there. And we've seen plenty of teams already changing their managers. Look at Michael Carrick coming into United over Ruben Amorim and changing their fortunes around. Fortunes can change very quickly. And when there's just a little bit of heat now coming onto Fabian Hürzeler, do you think he should be worried? I'm asking San all of the questions over Brighton's future here, so if San can answer it.
Oh, no. I've never been on a relegation, but I know.
Put us in that mentality. Who knows?
Listen, when you are a manager, when you don't win games, you're constantly under pressure. But I think he's handling it quite well. He understands where the team is. The only problem for him will be those players enjoy playing football. It's difficult when you have to go and fight for results. It's completely different. That's where the problem will be. At the moment, they still got opportunity to get out, to pick some points, but they have to get results. And tonight will be a really, really difficult game for them. But they have to show a fight. That's why Elmo was saying Villa have to start strong. They have to be aggressive. They have to have the intensity, and they have to willing to win that game from the first minute.
You were going to say, Elmo?
No, I'm just talking about Brighton. It's a different pressure when you're in the relegation zone. Like Stan said, results is more than performance in these situations. But I still think Brighton are better than 5-6 teams down there. So they still got enough in the team to stay in the Premier League the way they play. But when you're losing games, you're losing confidence, and the fans start getting, the media start getting on you as a manager as well. So it's something they need to find it. So hopefully not today, maybe after today. So
I know, I just see it. I got the back heel on that one. You see that? I absolutely say that like I know, that's it. A little flick off then. I know.
And again, it's a very important game for us after the results happened yesterday for United and Leeds. It's very important to get this gap open again for us, because after you get in playing in the Europa League next month, and a lot of games come and playing in the FA Cup. So it's going to be a lot of games. So you need to pick points this month when you're not playing in Europe. So you're getting some rest between games. These games is very, very important for us.
It really is, but luckily we've got the January signings now. Hopefully they will have bedded in a little bit now that the window has shut. And of course one of those signings was Tammy Abraham. He sat down with the Villa TV team earlier on this week.
It almost doesn't feel real. I've spent such a long time away. It's nice to finally be back. And it's nice to be back at Aston Villa. So I said it before. It wasn't the plan to come to Aston Villa before. I wanted to stay in the Premier League. It was a last-minute thing, and it turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made. It was instantly I fell in love with the club, with the fans, the supporters, the stadium. I always knew the history behind the club, but I didn't know it was as big as it was until I arrived here. And it was an amazing season. Of course, we had our ups and downs. No one ever expected us or thought we could get to the playoffs and get promoted, but we stuck together, and we did it together, which it will be in my memories forever. You know, I've supported the club ever since. I've always watched them and wished them well. And, you know, I always said, I think when I was away, you know, in Italy and everywhere, they asked me would I ever come back to England, and I always said if it will be Aston Villa one day, then for sure. And, you know, I spoke into existence, so I'm just happy to be back. We know we have a good team, good players. You know, it's important fixtures coming up. Every game feels like a cup final now, so we have to fight. We've got a few injuries, but that shouldn't stop us. I think as a team we have enough to beat anybody, so we just have to believe in ourselves and, you know, recover, rest well, and, you know, fight together. I think for me, you know, coming in January, my aim was to get settled in as quickly as possible and help the team in every aspect. You know, I know the club's goals for this season, and I'm gonna be here to help achieve that. So, you know, that's my main focus. That's my goal, to help the team reach our goals.
Yeah, really good to hear from Tammy there. And it's always nice to hear that it's the best decision you've made in your career if you come back to Aston Villa. I mean, naturally, you're going to get everyone, not that anyone needed to get back on side, because we all were so buoyed by his return here. But, I mean, that's an extra way to sell it.
Of course, yeah, especially when he was here before and he knows the club very well, played a massive part getting the club back to the Premier League in this promotion, scored 25 plus goals, you know, so he knows the club, he knows everything, he knows the training ground, Villa Park. He played alongside a lot of the players who are still here, so yes, it's nice to have him back, because, you know, he's getting some experience playing in big clubs around Europe, playing for Chelsea, Roma, Besiktas in Turkey as well. So he's a good player, very good player, played alongside him, and very different than Oli, you know. So you have two sorts of different strikers in the team. You have someone like Oli who run behind, loves space, and Tammy is big, very good in the box from crosses, and can hold the ball very well. So for the manager, it's a very two kind of different striker you have, so you can use them both in different games. So it's great to have him back in the team. He can help the team in this season and for the future as well.
Because it's interesting, when Unai Emery was saying that basically why Donyell Marlin kind of left, that he wanted almost like a like for like for Ollie Watkins when Ollie Watkins wasn't available or needed a rest. Not in so many words, I'm paraphrasing there completely, but they're not very alike, really, are they? How would you kind of separate them or find their similarities?
Well, I think when you compare Marlon to obviously Tammy Abraham, they're not alike, are they? So, I mean, bringing a Tammy Abraham in, he's more of a centre forward, whereas I think Marlon could play in wide positions. And I think when I see Marlon play start games, it weren't always, I would have said, his strongest point. Yeah. I thought he was more impact when he came on up top, but that's where Tammy brings something different, as in his hold-up play. He will go in behind, he will want to try and spin, and he will play on shoulders. So there are similar sort of situations that he has, and the same sort of traits that Ollie has. And then we've seen that here at Brentford, where he could have had himself a couple of goals. He scored a goal, was disallowed, and then it got frustrating for him because Brentford just literally parked the bus, and there was no way for him to get in behind. It was, you know, and we played against 10 players before. When you're playing up against 10, your centre forward usually goes missing because they're the ones that they want to try and keep quiet. And that's the unfortunate thing for him. So he's got to bide his time, but I think he'll be a good signing for us. I think he will bring something similar to what Ollie does. Hopefully Ollie keeps scoring and he keeps Tammy out, and they battle for that place. That's what we want. That's what we said when John Duran was here. And
it was nearly a perfect return, as Lee was just saying there, for Tammy to come back to Villa Park. But that VAR decision, how far do you track back to a ball going out of play? Did it even go out of play? Anyway, we're not going to quite go down that rabbit hole, but
don't start me on that VAR.
I know, again, that's what I was going to stand. Did you notice I saved that one for him again there? But yeah, it was an absolute joke of a whole just series of play there. But it would have been a dream return for him, wouldn't it? And just to give you that pedestal and that extra confidence to drive on forwards.
Of course, it's always good for a striker to score goals, but Tammy is completely different than Ollie. I think he has to be really patient with the way Villa team plays. I think the Villa style of play is more suitable for Ollie than Tammy. He has to be patient. The players have to understand how he plays, what his strength is. He has to understand that the build-up of the play is different. You have to be able to find the right solution, right areas, when to attack it. He's matured enough. He's been through enough good teams, played with enough good players, and I think he'll fit in. He just have to be patient and wait for his chance.
Do Villa need to take this opportunity now? Is this must-win territory, do you think?
Of course, yeah, must win today. You know,
It is
especially
must-win.
after what's going on, you know, last few weeks. You know, getting beat here twice in the Spain is not good. You know, so you have to react on that. So it's a perfect game to react on that and to get the 3 points. Yeah, good points against Bournemouth away from home, but here at Villa Park, you have to make it a difficult place to come to. And they are know, you know, Brighton knows there is a difficult place to make sure to start well today. First 15, 20 minutes, get a goal, and then just finish this game 4 or 5-0.
Who's going to be key for us? Is it going to be Amadou Onana and Dougie Luiz, or who do you think is going to be key?
I mean, I always think that the midfield's always key. I think particularly against this Brighton side who are passive, they like to keep possession of the ball. But I want to see Sancho really stepping up today. I really want to see him going at his full-back. I want to see him taking on players. I want to see what I seen in the first half against Bournemouth, where it was more what they brought him into the football club for. And I think that opens up space for the likes of Morgan Rogers. There's an understanding there, and that's where I think the space will certainly come alive for Ollie to go and get his goals. But you know, the fullbacks are so important for us as well. The change in personnel. Matson's got to get forward because Bogard probably might be the one that's a bit more of a holding at the two fullbacks because of the situation with Matoma. So I just think that I always think that our forward players are our instrumental players and our important players here at Villa Park, because they can set this place alight and it can give everyone a lift. And let's not forget, we haven't scored here for 2 games.
Yes.
So that is going, I mean, that first goal is so important. You can imagine that will just relieve so many nerves around this place, believe me, because that's what it is. Everyone's waiting for that goal to come. And if we are the first ones, which I feel we will be, get that first goal. And with Omar, I think we could go on, kick on, and have a comfortable evening tonight.
What do you want to see, Stan?
Same again.
Yeah.
Villa has not been playing that badly. Obviously, the results, certain moments haven't gone the way in the last couple of games, but we're creating enough chances.
Yeah.
There's enough chances. There's enough confidence around the team. You go through those moments, but it's about, I think, about the midfielders. If you dominate the midfielders, if you pick up the right moments to press, to win your battles there, you've got enough players who can make a difference in the final third. So I think if you start with the intensity, with the right frame of mind, it will be a positive evening for Aston Villa.
Right, the players, I believe. Oh no, I thought they might be going in. Right, the announcers are suddenly coming over there. We better let you go in a second, though, because you're on co-commentary duty. So before we let you go, though, Elmo, I'm going to start with you. Predictions time, because we are 42 seconds away from needing to be off. So predictions.
I'll be quick. 4-1 Villa, 2 Ollie Watkins, 1 Morgan Rogers, and Tommy will come on the score.
Oh, well, I love that. I'd love that.
He knows he goes first, doesn't he? Exactly. We'll take that straight away now. Yeah. So precise.
And Morgan, my fantasy.
That's why. That's why. That's always why.
To score.
Yeah, so we need them to score after, I know, the last few games. Your points total must be down from the last few there. Right, prediction.
I'll go for 3-0.
3-0. Goal scorers?
Ollie Watkins, Morgan Rogers. I'll go for Sancho. Don't know why.
Got a
Sancho.
feeling
I was going to
that
go for Sancho or Douglas Luiz.
I like it. Yes.
I don't know. So
Everyone's got a feeling about Sancho tonight, that he's just finally coming to, not finally coming to form, but he's really going to be at his best.
I'm going to go 2-0.
Okay, goal scorers?
And I'm going to go Watkins and I'm going to go Rogers.
Watkins and Rogers. There you go. Ollie to get another one against his favourite team who he loves playing against. Right, we better let you scoot, but we'll be back though hopefully after the full-time whistle with another 3 points on the board. But do make sure to head over to Villa TV for live audio commentary of today's game. Mark Regan alongside this man.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Villa TV. Welcome to Villa Park, the latest challenge in front of Unai Emery's side as they look to move on to 50 points so far for the season. Sees Brighton and Hove Albion busy at B6 tonight under the lights. Great atmosphere building as you'd expect as well. And unusually for Aston Villa, they've got to right some wrongs. They've lost the last 2 games at home, so the challenge is there to get back on track and, like I say, open up potentially a 5-point gap between Villa in 3rd place and Manchester United on 45 points in 4th place at the moment. Helpfully last night, Man United and Chelsea both drew, so there is that chance for Aston Villa just to start reopening that gap between them and the sides, 2 sides behind.